We are, as we said, live in Cleveland, a few hours away from a live event where Donald Trump, too, will introduce his new running mate, Indiana Governor Mike Pence. As soon as he announced his choice on Twitter, what a reaction. And it was mixed, even from within Trump's own party. Take a look. Arizona Senator Jeff Flake applauding the choice, saying it would add to the ticket, and that there is nobody in politics I respect more, he says, than Mike Pence. RNC Communications Chief Sean Spicer calling it a great pick. There was dissension in the ranks as well. We want to talk about this with Scotty Now Hughes, CNN political commentator and political editor at rightalerts.com, and Matt Stevens, founder of prunejuicemedia.com and contributor to Politics 365. We thank both of you for being here. So, Scotty, I want to get to some news that we are hearing this morning, that Governor Mike Pence saying just last night he agrees with Donald Trump's call to ban Muslims from countries with heavy terrorist activity from entering the U.S. That is that's a reversal, direct reversal from what he had said back in December. Explain to us how it seems that Mike Pence is morphing into Donald Trump's values, and isn't that a little difficult if you are hoping he's going to pull in some of the establishment?
Well, I don't think you ever have to look at it and think that a president and vice president has to be on the same exact page 100%.
But this is a reversal.
Well, it's a reversal, but I think it's also they sat down and were able to actually talk out what the policy was and the justifications for it. And I think that's all that was mattered. All we heard were those headlines that came out of the original statement about the Muslim ban. But once it came out that no, it was only non-U.S. citizens and the justification would only be temporary, then that actually the logical sense probably appealed to Governor Pence. Listen, I think Governor Pence is kind of like the Pepto-Bismol vice presidential candidate here. For anybody that might have some antacid after some heartburn after this very contentious primary season where we have Twitter and social media involved, this kind of calmed them down. I think now Governor Pence is able to get a little bit more in depth into the strategy behind the Trump campaign from the very beginning, including this policy right here.
All right, Matt, what do you make of the news this morning?
Well, I'm really surprised that he picked Mike Pence, but if we want to talk about Pepto-Bismol, I actually really think that Mike Pence was the best of some worse choices for Donald Trump. And I'm really going to be very interested to see how the Clinton campaign reacts to this and how they campaign against Trump now that he has Pence on his ticket, and he now will have to answer for Pence's record, both in Congress and as governor of Indiana.
So what do you think the strategy will be now that she knows who this team is on the Republican side?
Well, I think that Hillary Clinton will now be able to, what she'll have to do is she'll know that they're going to hit her the same way that she's going to hit them, which is going to be completely on the record. You know, with Donald Trump, the past 13 months, he really has no political record at all. So he's been able to say some things that have gone unchecked because he simply doesn't have the record. But Mike Pence does have that record. And so I would expect to see a lot of looking back at Mike Pence's radio talk show, as well as his record in Congress, and of course his record in Indiana as the governor, particularly with the religious freedom bill, which was pretty much how a lot of people know Mike Pence, if they even know him outside of Indiana.
I want to talk about some unfavorables here on both sides of the aisle. We just got some numbers in from North Carolina and Florida. 58% of people polled there have an unfavorable view of Hillary Clinton. 61% in both states have unfavorable views of Donald Trump. When you look at those unfavorables that are so elevated, does that make the VP choice that much more pivotal?
Absolutely, and that's why it's going to play such a big role. And I love that you brought up about points and the record of these candidates, especially with somebody like Donald Trump, who doesn't have a political thing. But when it comes down to it, the records are going to come down to the economy and security. And Governor Pence has probably one of the best records when you look at Indiana, where he has actually decreased unemployment to 5%. He's created over 130,000 jobs are attributed to him just since he's been in since 2013. The economic developments that he has done within Indiana is phenomenal, and by far a lot more comparable, surpass what any senator that might be running for vice president for Hillary is. Those sorts of things right there will make those favorable numbers come back up. I think we're going to see a team more this year in this election season than we've seen in the past.
Matt, we know that Hillary Clinton is in D.C. She has been having an awful lot of conversations with people. Of course, everybody's waiting to see who her VP choice will be. Is there any chance that who Donald Trump has chosen will influence who she chooses, as well as, again, when you look at those unfavorable numbers, what does she have to do? What is her choice? Must her choice reflect?
Well, I think what Hillary Clinton has shown in this campaign so far is pretty much having a steady hand, and I think that that's really important. I don't think that Mike Pence will impact her decision much because I think that her camp has probably been thinking about their vice presidential pick for so long and realizing how the media scrutinizes her every move. I think that they are vetting whoever that candidate is going to be from top down, and I just really don't see that being an impact. I think that Hillary Clinton is going to stay focused on the issues, specifically the issues around all of the negative press that Donald Trump has created over the past 13 months. And I think that she's going to have a lot, she and whomever her vice presidential pick, are both going to have a lot to work with once that person is announced and they really hit this final stage of the campaign trail between now and Election Day.
All righty, Matt Stevens and Scotty No Hughes, good to have you in person.
Thank you.
Absolutely.